and welcome to episode 1 of our new Session Zero D&D campaign podcast. We will be joining the adventures of 3 intrepid adventurers in their travels and see where it goes from there. Who knows how this is going to turn out? Probably not well. So, please allow me to take you away from our world to a universe of magic, of might, and of monsters. Welcome to the continent of Bayli. The year is 1500, early February. From where you are, to the south lies the High Moor, a barren wasteland overrun with monsters. To the west lies the shining Sword Coast, the territory of the Lord's Alliance, where most of the major cities lie, such as the newly rejuvenated Neverwinter and the city of Splendors, Waterdeep. I was Neverwinter. I'll let you guys write all this down later if you want to copy it. To the east lies the unforgiving frozen sea of high ice, and to the north lies the Evermoors and the spine of the world. In the middle of this, however, lies the High Forest, and within it, the mighty river known as the Unicorn Run. Traveling along the banks of said Unicorn Run is the Death Train, a caravan of adventurers willing to face danger for glory and coin. It is composed of 3 carriages, each with 2 horses and a driver. As you saw whenever you made camp, you know that the first carriage contains a silver dragonborn in full plate armor, and a male and female human couple dressed in dark clothing. In the second carriage are a wood elf ranger and a dwarf in simple clothes. In the last carriage are a hulking lizard folk and a small human boy. Simon, you're about 400 miles away from home and feeling a little bit out of your element. You instinctively pull your hat a little bit closer to your head over your eyes, trying to avoid eye contact as much as you can. If you'd like to describe yourself.
Right. Simon is a young boy with thick blonde curls framing his freckled face. He's got the brim of his traditional wizard's cap pulled down just above his blue eyes. He's bundled in a heavy blue-gray cloak from which 2 long tendrils hang down to about his knee. He's got a quiet, tentative look about him.
Alright, and across from this, having a bit of an allergic reaction. There's some local bees in there.
Wait, what are these guys called? The what? The whole group.
The Death Train.
The Death Train.
It's amazing.
As this particular lizard folk is not quite as used to the cold of the area as it is a somewhat snowy day that blankets the upper areas of the trees in the high forest. However, there is enough tree cover where enough sunlight gets through and as little snow that it is still reasonably comfortable. However, across from this human boy is a large hulking lizard folk with 2 swords in the back. Kepesk, if you could like to describe yourself.
Well, oh, that's my inventory. It's like I have the explorers. Oh yeah.
13 gold.
13. Oh yeah. He's of prime age, just matured, 17 years old, about 230 pounds, pretty big, 6'8", darkish, probably like olive green scales. Yeah, no, that's not wearing much.
What color
just
are you?
light
Your scales? Silver?
No,
I just said olive green.
Oh, I'm sorry.
silver.
Keep up.
Not a dragon.
Sorry.
All right. As you continue down the banks of the Unicorn Run, this band of unlikely travelers, despite their differences, are traveling southwest towards the town of Succumber to give aid against the goblin and hobgoblin raids that have been plaguing the town for almost 20 years. The rods of justice of the town, in response to said raids, had sent out a mass appeal for the aid of adventurers around for very little coin in return, But to new adventurers such as yourselves, 10 gold pieces per goblin ear returned to the city watch is more than you can fathom. As you're traveling, would either of you like to do anything?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm alright too.
As you continue down, it's a little after midday. It's approaching almost evening as the sunlight is beginning to wane slightly. It's getting slightly darker. And if you read my notes,
No, I realized I registered that it was notes and was like, oh.
You'll die. I'll kick you. I'll kick you out. I swear.
You're not even introduced yet.
I'm
Okay?
sorry.
Don't this.
Never existed.
Oh God.
Got kicked out before the first 5 minutes.
As you travel, kind of sitting in a contemplative
Complicated.
words. Well, now it's left me again. I don't know, what word did I just say?
Contemplative.
Yes, that's what I was
What
trying
you
to
actually did say was contemplative.
Alright, as you sit in a contemplative way, let me just,
We're doing it. It's alright.
Audio.
so, as you sit there quietly, kind of ruminating on the potential gold and fame that you could gather from said job to take in Succumber, you hear from above just as one of the drivers kind of pounds on top and kind of leans out towards the window and kind of tries to make eye contact with you. Big fella, you mind keeping an eye out here? The snow is covering our vision. Just come up here. And he unlatches a trapdoor on the top of the cart.
I'm gonna climb up as you.
As you crawl, he kind of takes a step back and appreciate it. As you are out in the cold, it's not really all that bad, all things considered. For you as a lizard folk, you're pretty resistant to such things, as you've had plenty of experience surviving harsh, cold winter nights, and made through those pretty okay. As you're looking out, go ahead and make a perception check. First roll of the campaign.
17.
That is the same roll as the last campaign.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And it was him too.
Yeah. All right. Plus whatever.
Oh, right. Sorry.
That's good.
Okay, +4.
Okay. So, 21. There you go. All right. As you take a look around, you neatly survey the area, keeping an eye out for anything that may. It's good water, delicious. Anything that might arouse suspicion from your lizardly eyes. You take a look around. You don't particularly see anything. It is a nice day. The snow is somewhat light, and in a few patches it kind of blankets the ground, but nothing too serious. Doesn't impede the river's mighty flow as it continues down its banks. It's at about an hour later, you do, however, see just sitting on the side is sitting on the side of the road, far the end. Okay, so you are on the unicorn run is to your right, and to your left is mostly the woods. It's kind of difficult to see into it. You don't see anything beyond that. However, you do see a somewhat hooded figure in dark browns and patchwork leather is just sitting casually on a rock with a mask up over his upper face with a crossbow, just kind of sitting there eyeing you guys as so you see the front carriage kind of and speed up slightly as its pace somewhat increases. You take note of him. The driver in that cart also is seeing you take notice of him and is just kind of like whispers back to you. Just a group of raiders, don't pay them much mind. We'd be in any danger if it weren't for you folk. Too many of you, too strong. They won't try anything, don't worry. And he just kind of whoosh and drives the horses on farther. As you continue on, down the path.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
As he whips the horses into it. I'm just kidding. As you keep a close eye out, you really you notice that you feel pretty safe, considering the area, and you keep a good eye out. However, another hour after that, you come upon an area where, on the far side of the Unicorn Run, across its banks, you see, in the distance, in a small clearing, what appears to be the ruins of an ancient town. It is almost 99% rubble. It's just leveled, and there's no structure above maybe 10 feet. Not even. As it's just in ruins, and it's mostly overgrown. A few patches of snow have kind of piled up and prevented it from even feeling the light of the sun, as it's just blanketed in nature and vegetation. You, based on your perception roll, you do see some signs of life that potentially a decent number of people made camp there at some point. But that's more or less all that you can gather. You don't really see anything from here. Continuing on. After some time, after about another 25 minutes or so, you hear this as the front carriage is completely annihilated by a massive boulder that just strikes it and dashes it completely across. The horses... I can't make horse noises right now.
It's okay.
Pretty good.
They didn't even get a chance to make a noise.
The horses make horse noises as they, now no longer attached to a carriage, run off in separate directions at full gallop down the run. You hear from inside shouts and screams of the drivers just driving the horses into a frenzy, attempting to navigate around what you think must be a meteor, as the impact you hear just kind of crashes into the ground, but you aren't sure of what exactly is going on.
I'm gonna start looking around, like...
Okay, make a perception check.
14...
I did
4,
not even hear that,
18.
so don't worry about it.
Is that a 14?
18.
Yeah, that's a 14. Looks like an 11 from here. 18? Okay. You see, on the far side of the banks, kind of secluded in the foliage, is an enormous man. What are you doing?
Okay, so there's a ladder up.
Yeah, there's a ladder up and there are windows in your carriage.
Well, I'm just gonna try to see out the window.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check.
16 plus 1, so 17.
Okay. You see the same thing. You see a large creature. You make a history check. You make a nature check.
16.
16.
18 or 17.
17. Okay. You both gather from your experience of reading a lot of books and just kind of general learnedness of seeing a lot of illustrations of said beings of incredible might and power. This appears to be a stone giant. And you know this as well as you and your tribe have occasionally dealt with them in all circumstances, losing and being forced out of whatever region you may inhabit at that moment. Generally, mountainous areas, it seems unusual to see stone giants in a region like this. However, as you see this thing just kind of appear, another one kind of steps up, carrying an even larger boulder, and just kind of and gives it a mighty chuck. As
I'm gonna dive off of the carriage.
Okay. As you
towards the trees.
Towards the trees. Okay. So the second carriage is just completely annihilated. As you see now in the wreckage, you see you don't really see any survivors, except you do see the silver dragonborn that was in the first carriage seemingly get up out of some wreckage. You kind of see a few streaks of blood across him as he kind of gets up and pulls from his side a rather large long sword and just kind of prepares it as he just kind of snorts and kind of curling white smoke shoots up from his nostrils. In the second carriage, you see a bundle of dark cloaks. It's difficult to tell what was there, but whatever it is not moving at the moment. You see now a third and final stone giant, also wielding a boulder, is beginning walking up slowly towards the banks of the river. What are you doing?
I'm gonna move into the woods.
Okay.
Into cover.
I'm going to try and get out of the carriage that I'm in and follow. Did I see him?
Yeah, you saw him.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna follow suit.
Okay. As you run out of the carriage, the driver is just kind of trying to whip the horses to get out of this scenario. As this is happening, you are having a lovely day. It is a nice temperate afternoon. You're enjoying some of the snow that you're able to just kind of enjoy the crunch beneath your heels as it's been a quiet day. You haven't really encountered a lot of other creatures. Eventually, however, you hear this thunderous boom from a very heavy impact, as you're not sure, but it seems to be coming from the area of the unicorn run. A few moments later, you hear another poof and instinctively break into a gallop, running towards the general area where you heard the sound come from. As you see now, breaking out of the trees,
All chaos. It's
you
like,
do.
what the hell?
You
I think the
see-
Vietnam sounds are appropriate.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Eight total.
What's
going on?
So, you look forward. You see some wreckage of unfamiliar origin, and a very large carriage kind of hurtling straight towards you. And walking on the other side of the run, you see a singular, very large. You can go ahead and make a nature check as well.
Great. 9.
9. Okay. You do believe that this is some form of giant, but you aren't exactly sure what it is or what its origin.
Wait, is the carriage like moving towards me because it was hit and it is flying towards me, or it's just moving towards
It's
me?
moving towards you with two horses
Okay.
kind of galloping
Oh, okay,
towards you. As the two, and you see two figures kind of escaping out into the snow, as a third and final boulder comes, annihilating that carriage as well, as the driver just kind of like is thrown forward and into the river, is currently being swept downstream. As the two giants who you did not see previously just kind of and land on the other side of the river in a single leap, running towards you two. You panic for a moment and then see each one kind of and grab a horse by the flanks and just kind of take it as they are whinnying in intense panic as one of the stone giants kind of he takes a leap and doesn't quite get as far as he was able to leap unencumbered, but he lands on the ground, taking a look down at the somewhat rugged dwarvish driver that is in the river. He just kind of
Oh.
steps on him as you hear an audible crunch and that is immediately muffled underneath the rushing water. You just kind of
He's just unconscious, right?
Start making death saving throws.
You gather by this definitely
Not doing so
reached
good,
his
Mr.
hit point
Stark.
maximum. So you see a continuation of red kind of flowing downstream as you see a face down dwarvish body kind of floating in the water next to you as the giants are kind of like beginning to run away.
Can I get the dude out of the water?
Sure. Go ahead and just make a straight strength check to try to resist the water and also pull the body out. 3? Okay. You wade in. Oh God, it's really cold. You reach for the guy and you just kind of you grasp hold of him and you kind of grab him by his footwear, which just kind of slips off, and you're now holding a singular boot that's just kind of draining with water.
Sick loot.
I'm
As
gonna
he's just
drop
kind of
it.
continuing downstream.
Can I? Oh, sorry.
You guys doing anything?
Oh, I'm gonna rush to the carriage to that mess of black robes and see what's going on there.
Okay.
Check it.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay. 11.
11. Okay. As you kind of like poke it a little bit, not sure what to do. As you see the previously unconscious wood elf is kind of dragging himself out. You see he has a bow across his back, which is now snapped. It's just kind of sees the giants and draws from his back 2 small dagger-like blades of. It's very elvish in its build. It's very curved and accentuated. It's very pretty as he just kind of rushes across, like Naruto runs basically. Does actually make it makes it across the river with pretty much no problem. Jumps to the other side and begins running after them. As you see the dragonborn in martial plate armor is kind of just like he runs forward and through the river as if it's nothing. Just the cold does not bother him. As they rush forward, you see the dragonborn kind of as his sword kind of ignites in this electrical that crackles up and down it as he and basically tries to stab one of the stone giants carrying the horse in the butt. However, he just kind of and it kind of diverts against its naturally thick hide. As he did stab in the butt, there's a lot of thickness over there. As the giant kind of was like, and just kind of not backhands him, but back foots him.
Kicks
He
backwards.
kicks him in. Ooh. Okay. As he just kind of the dragonborn lands. It's partially halfway in the stream, just kind of being pulled into it. As the ranger reverses his blades and then leaps towards the one with the horses. He just kind of that guy. Ooh, yeah.
Hey, can I look for a good place to hide while
You
this
can.
is going on?
Go ahead and make a stealth check.
Okay.
Are either of you doing anything?
I
I'm
want
gonna
to
start looking for more survivors.
Okay.
Yeah,
wreckage.
like that dragonborn dude. Can
Make
I?
another investigation.
It's a
check.
14. Get
The-
him out of the water.
the
Is he?
dragonborn?
Yeah. Is he still alive?
Yeah, you'll have to make it across. You get to about the same area where everybody is. You're pretty close. You see a large hulking. You're pretty familiar with lizard folk enough to know what they are.
10.
Yeah.
14.
14. Okay. You think you're pretty relatively hidden, just based on where you are. You don't think that anybody sees you. You run up to where the dragonborn is, as you see the ranger kind of as there's 2 like flashes of blue energy that just kind of burst from him as the giant just as he's trying to reach for his back, as he's just kind of like dodging back and forth as he's just kind of using the 2 daggers kind of lodged in the giant's back as hand holders as a third giant comes up, the one who did not take a horse, and just kind of pulls out from where it was kind of hanging at his hip a very large club that's like easily the size of any of your torsos, and just kind of however, what he ends up doing is and it impacts with the other giant shoulders. While as previously he had 2 daggers in his back, now has a probably dislocated shoulder from where the club just kind of as he just kind of responds. Anybody speak giant? Okay, you have no idea what they're saying. Do you?
No.
Okay. So as you taking a look at the remaining survivors, you kind of check around. You don't really see anything. There's a lot of broken bodies and bones. There's a lot of blood. You assume pretty much everyone in each carriage has met their end. As you reach the Dragonborn person, go ahead and make a medicine check. As you're watching now, as the lumbering lizard folk is just kind of like poking at some of the bodies with his sword, and
Orion
just watching this happen.
looks on in distaste.
What did you get?
Him. Oh no, he got a 14.
He just kinda looked
But he's
at
just like, stop.
Alright, as he's just kind of like flipping over like robes to see if anybody is alive or anything, you check the Dragonborn. He is pretty much dead.
Oh.
Best you can tell, he's met his maker. He's completely dead. It's what happens when a giant rolls in that 20. So, as the giants, now the other one just kind of holding the club, just kind of he's gonna make another strike. The ranger. This dice rolls really good.
I'm gonna try and find Simon and hide with him.
Okay. Make an investigation check. You see, like a mosquito on someone's arm, the ranger just splats across the other giant's back. The one carrying the horse just goes and lands on his feet, letting go of the horse as he's now like prone on the ground. The horse kind of like gets up and tries to run off into the woods as the giant with the club is like and runs after it, and the one with the horse also and they both run off into the woods, leaving the one on the ground with 2 daggers still embedded in his back. The stone giant with the ranger, he's just kind of tries to reach it, runs on after it, can't get the body off. It's just basically pinned to his back. What'd you roll?
9.
9. You do not see any sign of the small wizard boy anywhere. As you're just kind of like, you're watching him like kind of look around in the area. You assume looking for you. He doesn't seem to notice you. Alright, as you are suddenly alerted to the presence of the small wizard boy is just kind of like hiding there in the snow. What do you do?
Could I approach them?
Sure.
Like, because I can't really see anybody else alive.
Are we the only
so...
ones left in the area now?
Go ahead and make sure. Everybody.
Nat 20.
Solid 9.
Okay. You just kind of like spin or completely around. You don't see anyone left alive. There's no movement from the carriages. There's nothing on the other side. The Dragonborn seemingly is just kind of like slipping and just kind of floating off gently down the river. As he's just continuing on. In more ways than one, he floats down the river. But yeah, best you can tell, there are no others.
I'm gonna grab Simon by the arm and just trying to start yanking as I try to go into the woods. Were we not in a party? Are we? No, we don't know.
No, you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, all you really know about each other is right now there is a lizard folk kind of tugging on your arm, and you are watching seemingly a large lizard folk holding a sword, dragging a small boy by the arm.
Can I reasonably be concerned about that situation?
It's pretty
Like
concerning.
slightly, just be a little bit like.
You get the feeling that maybe something. We'll go ahead and make an insight check.
That's kind of horribly done.
22.
22. It doesn't seem hostile. There is still a lizard folk dragging a small boy by the arm, but it doesn't seem hostile in any way. You're really not sure what's going on. You're getting some mixed messages about this.
So can I?
Do you resist?
approach?
That's the question.
Simon, what are you're being kind of like dragged along by
Yeah,
by this lizard
no, I'm
folk.
just kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm gonna kind of like dig my heels in the
Okay,
snow.
I'm just gonna let go and start if you want to stay here, then fine. I'm just gonna start going.
Where are you headed?
I'm getting out of here.
Understandable. I'm gonna follow.
Okay. As he's headed off in the woods, you
Yeah.
kind of see this altercation occur.
I'm just gonna kind of be like.
You two make a strength check. That was barely English.
That's a 15 total.
Okay. You kind of are you are aware of the presence of a centaur in kind of, well, if you would like to describe yourself. No, this is intentional. We're very professional.
Do I say my name?
If Orion, if you would like to describe
Yeah.
yourself. We'll say your name for posterity, but you guys don't actually know. That's the combat one.
So Orion is about like 6 foot, 6'1", Cervitaur, half deer, half human, or person. He is a spotted deer, dark in color with like white spots along his back. He has a kind of reddish brown colored hair, short yet wavy, small, relatively medium-sized antlers, and kind of a quiet yet stoic look to his face after what he just witnessed, mixed with quite a bit of confusion.
Alright, so as you kind of see this centaur kind of, well, just for purposes of listeners, walk up to you guys, wielding, well, do you have a shield and a mace? Do you have those out?
Yes. Well, I
Okay.
don't have my shield, but I have my mace out.
Okay. You see this strange armor-clad centaur with a necklace hanging around his neck.
Wow, really?
With a mace kind of like resting easily on his shoulder. You kind of look around in confusion.
I'm gonna pull Simon behind me and just like hold out I have my sword out, so
Okay.
like point at him.
I would advise that you let go of that child.
Do you know him? Or do you know him?
No, I just witnessed how many people were on the carriage?
Thousands.
A dozen or so people died.
Yeah. But
What's
you have-
going on?
You don't
Do
know.
you need help?
You don't know any people.
We were part of a caravan going through these parts of.
Where were we heading again?
Succumber.
Succumber. I knew it was something like cucumber.
Do you want to explain?
Do you know where Succumber is?
Cucumber.
Yes. Now, are you hurt? Do you need help?
I'm good.
We're both well.
I'm gonna lower my sword. Look,
Thank you.
okay, are you heading to Succumber, kid?
I'm still processing what just happened.
Are you going to Succumber?
Sure.
Okay. Could you
Can I, like,
lead us
back
to
in?
Succumber?
Simon slightly closer to me, just be like,
I'm feeling very, very overwhelmed.
So I'm gonna let go of Succumber. Or not. Simon.
Alright.
Let's start.
I dropped
Sir,
a save.
what is your name?
my name is Orion.
My name is Simon. This is
Kepesk.
I bow to both of them.
Are you from around here?
Yes,
Okay,
I frequent these parts. This isn't quite often. You said you were heading to Succumber? For what purpose?
Yes, you guys
Take care
recall.
of goblins, right?
Yeah.
The what's
You've heard of the hobgoblins
Yes.
that have been plaguing town for about 20 years, as they just kind of like help all adventurers. We'll give you a little money.
We're
So we're
heading
headed there for a little bit of going and
going and killing.
maybe not that as much.
I don't. Do you like
Look.
hobgoblins?
No.
I don't like hobgoblins.
Look.
I like killing
all right.
hobgoblins.
All right.
I don't like hobgoblins.
Do you have business?
What are you, racist?
What are you gonna
I
recycle
had
our
to do it.
memes
I had to do it
chronologically?
If you don't mind, we'll take our leave. We won't bother you.
Is there? You said that they were looking for help in Succumber.
Yes, they're in need. They've got a hobgoblin issue.
Okay. And then Orion kind of looks around at the mess that is before him, and then the giant's off, and can you still hear him? Kind of.
At this point, they're pretty long gone.
And he kind of thinks for a minute, kind of rubs his head. I've stayed dormant for a bit too long. Might be good to help.
I mean, the more the better.
And then he's gonna kind of step back, bow, and step back a little bit.
Either way, I'd like to leave this forest. I've never
Nothing-
seen anything like that before.
Nothing against this forest. This forest is great tourist attraction.
Tourist. What? What?
Let's be off.
All right, so
I don't like terrorists.
okay. So if you are you leading the way to Succumber?
Yeah.
Okay. Given that you know the general direction of where it is, and it's not particularly hard to find, go ahead and make a survival check with advantage. 21. All right. Yeah, you recall pretty accurately where Succumber.
Damn, I thought that was a jug of vinegar.
It is.
Obviously.
It soothes the throat.
So, as you were following this this mysterious Centaurian man, you make your way off into the high forest, a similar direction to the Unicorn Run. Still staying not exactly alongside of it, but in the general area where you're still in the cover of the trees, which you gather would have been enough to shield you from the presence of the stone giants, but it's difficult to do that when traveling in very large caravans. As you make your way down through the trees and just continue on your way, what anyone would like to do?
Before we break town, Orion's not gonna just straight up just up and walk into.
From where you are,
So-
you're decently familiar with the area. You think it's about a day or two's travel from exactly where you are, and at least a day or so before you break tree cover and are out into the rolling plains, which will eventually take you to Succumber.
Okay, so how long have we been walking now?
Walking for just a couple minutes.
Oh, never mind. Alright. Yeah, no, I have nothing I want to do.
Yeah, me neither.
Alright. As you trudge in silence, making your merry way towards the town of Succumber that is in need. Eventually the day comes to a close. As the sun continues to set, it eventually becomes pretty dark, normal dark for nighttime, and then exceedingly so from a just oppressive nature. Not exactly oppressive, but just very encapsulating nature of the high forest. It's just kind of inherently a place of magic that most elvish or elven people are drawn to in one way or another. There is a high degree of magic in the area as you eventually prepare to take a rest for the evening. Or do we
Gotta rest.
okay.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna make a fire.
All right. Go ahead and make a survival check.
Can Orion be judging him as he does it?
Sure.
Just kind of silently watching, like,
Only you can prevent
That's
the
fine.
fires.
16.
16. Okay. Despite the cold, you're pretty used to lighting fires at night in the cold. Even in the dark, it doesn't particularly bother you. It's not difficult to find dry kindling and things underneath leaf beds and such. As you form a small fire, rub some sticks in that particular way that you know. Or actually, I believe the Explorer's Pack has a tinderbox, so you just use that. As you light a small campfire for the evening, as it just kind of and ignites into a comfortable and familiar warm glow that warms you all. Would anybody like to take watch?
You do that.
I know the area. After what you have experienced, I assume you would like some rest.
I'm gonna curl up by the fire, just silently.
Okay.
Are you alright?
Yes, I'm doing well. I'm a little shaken.
May I ask you, do you have parents? Are you lost? Does man take you?
No, I'm far from lost. A bit out of my element, maybe, but
Just making sure.
he's gonna sit down by the fire and lift his hat a little and let his mouse crawl out onto his hand. And he's gonna sit and feed her some treats for a little bit.
Okay. You
Brownie
respect this.
points.
As you take first watch, go ahead and make a perception check.
17.
17. You don't see anything. Nothing really arouses your attention. You see the occasional passage of large woodland creatures which you are familiar with, and know that as long as you don't bother them, they won't be hostile.
Homies.
As your watch eventually comes to close after a few hours, who would like to take the next one? Or who would you like to awaken? Either one. Oh. As you are suddenly shaken awake by the
None
the
too lightly,
dear
too.
boy.
You're just like, wake up.
Just gonna kick it with your hoof.
It's your time to watch. If you have any problems, talk to me.
Okay. I'm just gonna kind of gather my shit and go patrol.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
8. Oh.
Alright. You don't notice anything either.
Is it?
As your night kind of passes, you just kind of like spend most of your time just kind of lounging near the fire, but not where it's obvious that you're not kind of keeping watch. You are still keeping the eye out, but it's not quite as vigilant as it could be, as you don't feel particularly threatened by this area. It's not the first time you've spent a night alone in these woods.
That was really weird. I'm sorry. This is totally off topic, so if you don't want me to say it right now, I don't have to. My mom said she had this feeling once before when she was sitting at the dinner table before I was born. I felt like we had a member missing for a minute, and I was like, wait, what?
Ooh.
Like, it was really creepy. I'm sorry.
It's kind of like that.
Like the Who's Bailey.
This is the first time I wanted to mention it earlier. This is the first time I can't interject at all. There's nothing I can say because I don't have any NPCs.
I forgot we are
That's
missing
true. We are technically missing a member, so that may be what I'm feeling. But
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I keep wanting to be like, well, it's not safe here. We should get going. You know how it is. We should get out.
I am John Travolta.
I'm John Travolta. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Nobody's gonna get that.
Last campaign reference is 8. But yeah, it's a weird. But yeah, so that's it.
alright, sorry about that.
As the night comes to a close, what are we calling this one?
What was the word you
Vietnam.
misspoke earlier?
Complaintative. Or something.
Complaintative.
I like it. Complaintative.
Complaintative. All right.
That was cool.
And with that, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for joining us on this.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Sorry, where did that come from?
I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway.
It's Florence.
He's here.
He's here.
Okay.
Just a giant man walking. He just
An
has
actual
a
stone giant.
All right.
God.
And thank you very much for joining us. We will see you all in the next one. Farewell.